Felicity Huffman in Transamerica, in which you play a pre-operative transsexual, your character still has a male body in the movie, and as you said, the movie's kind of a road trip, and you're in the car with the young man you've just found out is your teenage son, who you fathered before you decided to become a transsexual. But anyways, there's a scene where you have to relieve yourself. And so you have a prosthetic genital there.
I do.
And that's kind of interesting because we see this from a distance, and you look very uncomfortable. I mean, obviously you don't want to be seen, but also you just look uncomfortable in your own body at that point. And
more uncomfortable than I have before? Or are you saying I look uncomfortable handling Andy?
That's what I'm saying.
I call him Andy.
That's what I'm delicately saying.
I felt when I saw that scene where she's relieving herself beside the car, I thought it was sort of wonderful, that discomfort that you're talking about. You could see it, that here is a woman who's stuck in the wrong body, and I thought it showed in that scene.
And Felicity, I thought it must have been interesting for you to have that prosthetic and to be in a man's body for a moment.
Well, it's interesting. When we started shooting in New York, Andy was not on the scene. And at the first day of shooting, I realized something was missing.
Happens to me all the time.
And I turned to the wonderful Kate Bailey, who was helping me out on the movie, and I said, "Is there such a thing as Andy?" And she went to some store where men get them for their swimming suits, and I'm not kidding. And so I got Andy, and my undergarments, I spoke to a lot of transgendered women and in various stages of their transformation. And some of them wear really tight underwear, then pantyhose over that, and then a girdle. So that not only is everything tucked in, but, they have a shape a little bit. They have a waist. And I did that because I needed the rigidity and I needed the feeling of discomfort. And I also wore Andy in there because it just added to the alienation that I needed to play the part. And except in Arizona when it was about 120 in the shade. And then, 2 was a crowd. And actually, that scene where Bree is on the side of the road relieving herself and her son sees that she is indeed a guy, that was added. We were up in the high desert in Arizona, and Duncan came to me and said, I think we might want this scene because it wasn't going to be shot before. It was just him looking back and you infer what Toby sees. But Duncan wanted it shot. And so it's funny because, I always say I'm not a method actor, but I have to say when Duncan said, we really have to see Bree's penis, I burst into tears because I felt so exposed and so embarrassed. And I'd done that nude scene in the bathtub and all that stuff, but that felt so intimate. And I think that is the part living in you. In the best of circumstances, hopefully that happens.
Is that uncommon for you to almost break into tears because because the character would be so uncomfortable?
Not when I'm actually shooting, not when it's in a scene, but just because it's not how I approach the work, that I don't recognize it when that happens, when the character lives in me until afterwards. I mean, I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago and I went, oh, that's what that moment was about. I thought I was just tired, but no, I think it was the character of Bree living in me that didn't want to show what she wished wasn't there.
Bill Macy, in one of your recent movies, The Cooler, you had a sex scene with Maria Bello,
A sex scene?
Right, okay, several. And we also got to see you naked from behind. And I guess I'm wondering if, I think that was like the first time on screen that you were naked from behind. Was that like an issue for you? And I ask you this in part because it got so much attention. Like people were saying, "Oh, Macy's doing a sex scene."
Why'd they wait until I was?
Did I mention you got nominated for an Oscar for this? I mean, not only for the naked part, but even for the role. It was like an important role. But I guess I'm wondering whether that was something that made you uncomfortable, how you reacted to the reaction to it.
I was nervous about it. I'm north of 50